Well, Casca's back. If you didn't know that, you probably missed a few chapters. And what chapters those were. Bwah. Just kidding, they really were great. Casca still has a way to go, not being able to look Guts' way and all, but she's on the path to recovery. Yay! Anyway, this video is about Farnese. No, I shouldn't make fun of her like that. I love her. And a big question for me personally is the role Farnese will have now that Casca's protection is no longer a real issue. Casca can fend for herself just fine, so long as Guts isn't nearby, and I'm sure that part'll change with time. So what happens when someone's primary role becomes obsolete? There's been a couple character analysis videos here on YouTube about Best Waifu, so I won't be speaking much about her character, just the role she plays in the story. Since the dawn of time, every member of Guts' party has had a certain role to play. Guts is there to swing a heap of iron at things, Isidro's there to be a punk, Shirka's there to be a witch, Puck is there for some reason now, Serpico is there to protect Farnese, and Farnese was there to keep a handle on Casca's aimless actions, to be her guardian. Prior to that, she was a holier-than-thou jerk with a fire fetish. A total a-hole, plain and simple. But soon after that, she humbled herself to the dirt and asked to join Guts, and ever since then has been a massive asset to Guts' entire party. Farnese went from not really knowing what caring for someone even meant, to caring enough to hold someone else's life in her hands. Such a drastic shift. She protected Casca. And hey, that's a big job. And most incredibly of all, Guts trusted her with it. So she must have been doing something right. But now Casca is her old self again, and, well, doesn't seem to be needing much protection, if you ask me. That protective element was all Farnese was built around for a long time. Her role had been somewhat solidified. But then, some point along the way, she took on the prospect of learning magic from Shirka. This widened her character horizon quite a bit. There became a brand new path she could go down, and not necessarily feel like a knockoff version of Shirka, because she already had that baseline Casca guardian role the reader associated her with. A healer, maybe? Now, Shirka walks a similar tightrope. She pretty much heals Guts' mind every time he berserks. But is she a general use healer? No, not really, she's more of a battle mage. I mean, she could be both, but that's not what Miura seems to want out of her character. This cleric role is seeming like the fit Miura is wanting for Farnese Sama-san. And at the same time, it's not like Casca doesn't remember the bond they shared in her time of need. There will continue to be a sisterly bond. Casca now has a friend. And Farnese may now have a confidant herself, nay, a strong female icon to embody. Before Casca's return, Farnese had to do her growing alone, but now that Big Sister Casca is awake, Farnese can grow with someone else, a peer of such stoicism and leadership. Now, Shirka is undoubtedly a good influence on Farnese's character, but I doubt she'll hold a candle to what Farnese has to gain from Casca, and honestly, Casca may gain invaluable strengths in return. Having someone to bounce feelings off of, to relate to, unlike in her past where she never had a female friend. This will lead to growth in unforeseen ways. We've got like a trio of sisters now. The strong, the wizened for her age, and the humbled and growing. This video is mainly about Farnese, but imagine the strength that Shirka will gain from having Casca around. Not that Farnese is a bad role model, but she's no leader. It's necessary to have multiple outlets for learning how to be a better and stronger individual, and now Shirka has that. With Flora gone, I'm sure she can take solace in gaining a strong new mentor figure. Casca obviously won't be teaching Shirka any magic, but her values will go a long way. Casca's badassery will likely rub off on both of our witchy girls in some way, shape, or form. And maybe Isma too? I don't know, she doesn't seem to have the overflowing waves of potential the girls in our triple threat trio do, but hey, I could be wrong. She is a fish, after all. Now, speaking of potential, Farnese and her magical ability. Does she show promise? Boy howdy! Shirka's real-life methods have done wonders for Farnese's magical growth. Without prep, without cookie-cutter wizarding practices, Farnese does her little ceremony like a true prodigy, showing up all those little punk baby so-called witches in training. 3 months? Really? Wow! But she's an adult, right? Aren't kids the dudes who do magic? Like, adults can't learn, I thought? Well, maybe. just maybe, Farnese isn't an adult after all. Unlike a normal growing girl, forced to grow into a society that doesn't really recognize you as special, Farnese was of royalty, not needing to mature as a normal person of her age might. So maybe a child at heart in a lot of ways. Speaking of her childhood, Serpico has recently made me realize that Farnese isn't even treating him like a servant-esque figure anymore. He's doing it of his own volition. At some point, Farnese might turn to him and say, "Hey, you really don't have to do this anymore. I'm good." And then he may be forced to undergo character development again, lest he resort to hiding behind trees for the rest of his days. Or maybe he'll die. One thing I know though, I really miss this dude. Farnese doesn't need a protector anymore. Not like this one anyway. A normal amount of protection is understandable, and I'm sure that'll continue, but Serpico waiting on her hand and foot should be a thing of the past. She's there to protect, and will continue to do so as long as she has people to protect. So it's less that Farnese's role has become obsolete or redundant, and more along the lines of her role having evolved into something greater. She may still be the hand Casca reaches for when Casca is feeling unsafe, and in the future, Farnese may even feel more worthy of being that hand. She's growing. She'll become more skilled and feel like an actual protector, not just of Casca, but of the whole group. I believe that's what she's going to strive to be, anyway. Farnese is honestly one of my favorite characters now. She has so much room to grow, even after experiencing so much growth already. She started as a woman in over her head, someone needing protection, and she became a protector herself, and I believe will go on to be the grand protector of Guts, Casca, and the rest of the party. Anyway, that's it. Tell me your Farnese-related thoughts, please. But, leave horses out of it. Thanks for watching. May the God Hand bless you with a fist bump.